Hi guys, happy Monday. I hope you're having a lovely day. My name's Victoria. Today's video is going to be all about PICC lines. What are PICC lines, why I have one, and other stuff about PICCs. I've been really excited to do this video. I hope that you find it educational and helpful, especially if you're getting a PICC line. But keep in mind, everybody's experience is unique and is a little bit different. And everybody's situation is different. So I'm just sharing what I know about PICCs, what I've learned, and my personal journey. So I hope you find it helpful. So what does PICC line stand for? It stands for peripherally inserted catheter, central catheter. In essence, it's a really long IV line. It's usually inserted into a smaller vein in the upper arm and then goes into a larger vein into the chest near the heart. I believe that it ends on the right-hand side, I was told by my nurse. I'm not sure. I think it has to do with the veins, the way that they're developed in that spot, that it's just easier to do that way. I could be wrong, though, about that. People have PICC lines, though, for a variety of reasons. Some people get it for medications that they have infusions for like every few weeks or every few months. Other people get it for chemotherapy, IVIG, chemo, TPN, which is in nutrition, or fluids, and I'm sure there's plenty of other reasons that I'm leaving out. Oh, antibiotics is another big one, especially for Lyme's and cystic fibrosis patients. There are different types of PICC lines, and it depends obviously on the person's individual needs. Most times, though, if somebody needs TPN, which is a form of nutrition, they will end up having a double lumen line, which means, I'll just show you on mine. I have a single lumen, but if this were to be double, there would be two of this part, and then two lines would come out of here. So, but I have a single lumen. This way, double lumen allows you to infuse multiple things at the same time. So like I said, personally, I have a single lumen PICC line, and it is a power PICC, and it's an 18 gauge. So why do I personally have a PICC? I've mentioned it in previous videos that I have hypergenic postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I've ended up being allergic to every POTS medication on the market that we've tried. I haven't had any success with natural remedies or over-the-counter, I don't know if you would say remedies, medications, not really medications, but anything over the counter that we've tried just didn't work, and I'd still be falling and passing out constantly. So my doctor agreed to let me try saline, and of course, after my veins being used for so long, and at that point they were already used quite a bit, that they just ended up giving out completely, my veins, and my nurses started really pushing for me to get a PICC line because it just wasn't feasible to keep putting in regular peripheral IVs, and then somebody needed to come back out and try to fix it. They would blow, and I had some of the craziest problems with IVs towards the end. And especially before the fluids, I would end up falling or passing out. And even with Abby, my service dog, alerting me, whose tail is going crazy in the background, it was great that she was alerting me, but it also wasn't really helpful because other than sitting down, I didn't know what else to do for my heart rate or my blood pressure. So that's why fluids was such a great fit for my case. My nurses and pharmacy had to speak with my doctor about a PICC line. He was quite nervous to place it, honestly, just because he had never ordered a PICC line before. So it was something really simple of why he wasn't comfortable with it, in my opinion. So everybody just kind of walked him through the process. This way he knew what he had to order, and intravenous radiology was great with him, which was super helpful. So the PICC placement, usually to my knowledge, they're always done in a sterile place. It's a sterile procedure. Personally, mine was done in a hospital in intravenous radiology. I'm sure other people have them in different places. I was extremely nervous about getting my PICC line placed, mainly because of my Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I don't always metabolize the numbing agents properly, so I'll usually go through them quicker than other people. So, and I've had really terrible experiences at the dentist with numbing agents, so I was a little bit nervous about that part and feeling the entire procedure. Thankfully, though, I had an amazing nurse who kept my mind busy. She talked to me about like POTS and EDS and school and all this other stuff, which was really helpful. It was quite nerve-wracking though when the tech went to start looking around and the doctor at my veins with ultrasound, and he goes, well, I've definitely seen much better veins than yours. I was like, oh dear, that doesn't sound too promising. I was pretty worried at that point that he was going to tell me he wasn't going to be able to place it. And I wasn't sure how my doctor would feel if we couldn't place that and we needed to jump right to a port. I wasn't really positive what would happen. Thankfully though, he was able to find a decent vein that did work, which is great. I did find the step-by-step PICC placement instructions from PICC Line Plus. I thought it would be useful for me to share it with you guys just in case you're going to be getting a PICC line placed, that you kind of know how the process goes. I know personally it really helps me to know exactly everything that is going to happen for any medical procedure. It brings down my anxiety greatly. I rather go in knowing everything. So you lie on your back obviously, and they put the blue tourniquet around your arm, which is up further up than it usually would be. It goes up towards your shoulder. And like I said, they use ultrasound to get a picture of your veins and guide the needle into your vein. Ultrasound looks inside your body, which is a device that moves over your skin. I think most of you know what ultrasound is if you're watching this. The area where the needle is inserted is obviously cleaned, and you get a shot of medicine to numb you. I don't know exactly what type of numbing agent I was given. I just know I was given one. A needle is inserted, and then a guided wire and the catheter are put in and moved to the proper spot, which I didn't realize that that had even happened until my nurse was like, oh yeah, they kind of like jam a wire into you. I was like, what? I didn't even know that. So I did feel pain, obviously, personally, when I got the numbing agent in. Like I said, I don't remember for the life of me what we used. Additionally, I felt pressure when they were putting in the PICC line. Usually I like to watch what's being done. This time I just opted out of watching what was done because I didn't really want to watch, no particular reason. And two, the way that I was positioned on the table, it was just really uncomfortable for my neck to try to watch. So I just figured no need to. Like I said though, I had such an amazing nurse, and she let me squeeze her hand while they were putting in the PICC, more so with nerves and just, you know, the pressure and stuff. I was in pain once the numbing agent did wear off, but it wasn't unbearable. I've dealt with quite a few painful procedures. It definitely isn't in my like top 3, I don't think. So how do you shower with a PICC line? If you know anything about PICC lines, you know under no circumstances can they get wet at all. Getting your PICC line wet puts you at a higher increased risk for infection, and that's something you don't want to deal with because it ends right by your heart and you can get a blood infection quite easily. So showering, I know a lot of people complain about. I actually don't find it that big of a deal. I'm pretty confident showering at this point. I was a little bit on overkill in the beginning. I would spend probably 20 minutes wrapping my arm for probably the first month or two, and I'd have probably about 10 layers. So it was a little bit of overkill in the beginning, honestly. Now though, it's so much easier. Though I found a method that works for me. I've never once gotten it wet or nearly wet, which is great. I just put my regular sleeve on that I wear during the day. Then I use one of my old sleeves, and then I have a shower-proof PICC cover, which I got from Amazon, and I'm gonna link it below. This way you guys can check it out if you have a PICC. I'm just looking for my other sleeve. So I find that it works really well. I know other people said when they saw what I used that they didn't trust it, but I've had really good results, so I do recommend it, obviously. But I know everybody is different. And even with a PICC, if you wrap it properly and you are very careful, you can take a bath. Because I've had to do that with like different muscle issues, try to take a bath to help relieve pain, and you can do it successfully with a PICC line. It's really not as bad having a PICC line as some people say. I've heard so many horror stories and so many people hating PICCs. I don't really see the need to hate it. It's not that bad. So I adore my PICC line cover that I wear during the day. I'm going to just show it to you. It is from Mighty Well. And I really love it because I feel like it keeps my pick out of the way. It keeps it clean, and it doesn't my PICC line never bothers me in this. I would have problems like when I first got the PICC with the clamp digging into my skin, or like this part digging into my skin, especially at night. With this, I don't have any problems. So just kind of show you, the line goes into here, the second hole for me. That's where I put it. And then it folds up like that so that your PICC line stays inside and it stays nice and clean. It can't accidentally be tugged out of your arm or anything crazy like that. I am going to put the link in the description. Mighty Well is an amazing company. They're fantastic to work with and so friendly. It was, in my opinion, a little bit more pricey, but if I had to do it all over again, I would just buy this one and never buy another sleeve in my life, because it was definitely worth it. I think it was, I want to say, around $30. But it's a one-time investment is how I looked at it, so I don't need to like keep getting new ones. So PICC line care. You don't actually clean, you know, like your actual arm, except for once a week when the nurse comes in to do a dressing change. With a dressing change, I didn't actually realize in the beginning that everything comes off. So when I saw the lock come off, I think I almost passed out. Because that's what keeps your PICC line in your arm, essentially. You know, when that's not there, it can fall out. So I was a little bit nervous. But it needs to be cleaned, and everything gets changed once a week. So it's a little bit uncomfortable, I would say, in the beginning till you're used to like dressing changes. Like I said, they take everything off, so I don't know how well you can see it, but they take off this stat lock, they take off the bile patch, the techoderm, and then everything is just cleaned. So, and then the actual PICC line here needs to be cleaned every day, which you just use alcohol swabs, which I can do a video with setting up, I think, and cleaning the PICC. But I use 3 alcohol swabs, and I do the ABC song each time I use an alcohol swab. Then I flush it with saline and then flush it with heparin, unless I'm infusing, and then I hook up to my infusion, and then I'll use heparin after I infuse, and then I will put on a green cap. So I hope I'm not forgetting anything. That's what I'm just trying to check. But I'm going to show you guys how I flush my line and how I set up my bag of saline. I will put a link somewhere, hopefully very soon. If you have a PICC line, share your experiences with me in the comments, and feel free to ask questions. If you don't have a PICC and you're just curious, let me know. I'm open to answering any and all questions. So I'm going to try to put some helpful resources in the description box. If you know of any good articles, resources, videos, or anything else, leave them in the description too. I hope you have a fantastic day. See you soon.